Raw Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Perry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out SmackDowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space. Now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the War Report podcast, brought to you by TagMeADate.com. Hopefully coming back. Well, we have a lot to cover. John Cena, 20 years. John Cena. Whether you love him, hate him, you got to respect the hell out of the guy.
Not a huge Cena fan, but will completely admit that was pretty fucking awesome last night.
I mean, it was Cena doing Cena.
Yeah.
His promo work and everything else. I mean, he's fucking amazing. But
yep.
and all the Make-A-Wish and everything else, everything he does is just,
650 plus, man.
Yeah, he's a rock star. I mean, it's
that last one he did with the kid in Ukraine. Oh my God, it killed me.
He's something crazy, man. But it was good to see him back. I thought he would I didn't get to see the last 45 minutes. Did Cena come back out at all, or that was it after his promo?
Not after he did his swan song, no, because then it started going into the women's Money in the Bank match.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because I pretty much finished after I heard Cena. That's kind of what I tuned in for anyway.
Right.
And it was what I expected. But the crowd was great.
Yes.
That made all the difference too.
Yeah, they gave, like you said, love him or hate him, he got the respect he deserved for all the contributions he put into the WWE. So man for that.
Inside and outside that ring. I mean, when you talk about a true well-rounded superstar, how does it get any better than John Cena? I mean, my personal favorite John Cena it was Thugonomics John Cena.
Yes.
That was my guy. That's,
Same.
I was all about that. Vince, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear. I'm on my phone.
Right,
I'm going to be on my phone until my computer restarts, but I'm good.
No worries.
All right, good. So we're starting off actually not the way that I actually expected us to. But fuck it. I mean, we opened with it because I kind of felt it was necessary. Obviously, John Cena, 20 fucking years of contributions and everything he's done. How'd you feel about it? We both agree it was great. I was surprised that he didn't get physical, but he did cut a John Cena-esque promo, which has been missing for a very long time. I thought it was cool. I thought the crowd was great. Cat agreed. What are your thoughts?
So a couple weird things, not weird things about it, but interesting things, I guess I should say, is that the show was not sold out until John Cena was announced.
Correct.
They sold 4,600 tickets.
Just because they announced that he was coming.
Just because they announced John Cena was coming. So I expect a ratings bump as well.
But do you know what sucks? That just proves, I always bitch about the lack of element of surprise. This just proves why we can't have it, because you couldn't keep it a secret and you wouldn't have sold those 4,600 other tickets. You sold those tickets because they found out John Cena was going to be back live. Yeah. So, it sucks because it's the reality. How great would it have been if all they've been doing is talking about his 20 years, congratulations, and he cuts a via satellite thing. I really wish I could have been there, but I'm filming Peacemaker or whatever. and then him say, you know what? You can see me. And then like his music hits and he comes out, you know, or whatever. I just like, it could have been a little creative like that. I thought Vince opening up was great.
It's still a weird, it's so
See,
weird.
I didn't feel that at all. I was like,
TV.
really? Still has to prove that he can get his 20 seconds on there?
Well, no, I mean, listen, he's the guy that created John Cena. At the end of the day, they're celebrating John Cena, and it's because he wants to. So I get it. Like, I don't think this particular moment has anything to do with pounding my chest like we talked about last week, in my opinion.
But see, here's the difference. He created the John Cena character. Like he even said, the WWE universe and everything else. They made John Cena what he is, not Vince McMahon. That's my opinion.
I think
Which
it's also
apparently is an unpopular one.
I also think it's weird that
that Vince McMahon, we will.
It's that is the whole thing is like, okay, I get being on TV once or twice, and now I feel like he's gonna be on TV weekly until this thing is resolved to remind people that he's still there. You know what I mean? I just feel like
I agree with. I think 100% that's exactly what's happening.
So then I'll rephrase what I said. I'll give it more credit than for last night than maybe the 2 or 3 previous appearances. I'll change my vote a little bit.
I didn't argue with you last week. I agreed with you. You know what I mean? So that still stands. I just, in this particular moment with John Cena, like that's like, you know, Austin. Like if this was all about Austin, like it would make sense for Vince to be like, you know, one of the greatest there ever was, you know, and then Austin comes out, you know, it's like, I don't know. Like certain people, I feel like, you know.
I can see that.
But yes, the rest of the time he's pounding his fucking chest to be like, hey, motherfuckers, I still run this bitch. You know, like that's what it is.
Well,
oh yeah.
So you can put this in the record book. A girl's gonna tell a guy you're right. So you could check that off.
Hey now.
You know, it doesn't. You're right. I mean, listen, we got the ultimate one with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. That's the ultimate guy being right in an argument.
You like that? You like that little picture there?
Yeah, I saw that. I really enjoy your avatar right now. But it's my goodness.
So
objection hearsay. Okay.
We'll see what happens. How long John Cena is going to be in and out, because they definitely teased a theory match. Theory and Cena had a little thing backstage, so they're teasing that, which I kind of figured. So who knows? Maybe that'll be a SummerSlam thing. But my initial plan was to open the show with a little AEW Forbidden Door.
Oh my god!
Oh man, dude!
Pay-per-view of the year so
that
far,
was
in my opinion.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Talk about it. What did you guys? Unfortunately, I've seen clips. I have not seen it yet. My schedule's been fucking nuts, and I haven't had a chance yet. But I know what happened, and I've seen bits and pieces.
There we go. I'll get this one out.
Honestly, there's very few times when you could say that a flawless show happened. I could not give you one piece of negative feedback about that show at all.
Yeah, the only thing people that are talking about is like Adam Cole got a concussion from one of Okada's drop kicks towards the end of that 4-way match.
I heard it was like kind of like a weird finish because of that or something.
It was, but that can happen anytime in any. If we're going to critique a match by the time everybody gets hurt,
and that was fine. But here's what ended up happening. Everybody was doing that typical thing they do at the end of a 4-way, where you get your person 1 hits a finisher on person 2, then somebody sneaks up behind the guy and hits a finisher on him instead, and then they're all doing that thing.
Right.
Okada hits a couple big drop kicks on Adam Cole. 1 or 2 of them catch him square in the fucking face, because Okada does these high drop kicks and he hits a lot of guys in the chest, but Adam Cole's a little smaller than that. He hit him square in the face, both feet, twice. Adam Cole was out on his feet. Like at one time he kind of fenced. They call it fencing, like this fencing response when you stiffen up. He kind of did that real quick and then got back up. So he was functionally out on his feet. He was supposed to take a Rainmaker, and instead he ducked it and fell to his knees and fell over.
And fell over.
And then Jay White hit the switchblade on Okada. So Okada was out. But instead of pinning Okada, he went over and pinned Cole because that was supposed to be – the finish was supposed to be that Adam Cole was knocked out from the Rainmaker and Jay White stole it from Okada. But what ended up happening was he hit the switchblade on Okada or Blade Runner, I'm sorry, the Blade Runner on him. And rather than pinning Okada, he pinned a guy who didn't get hit with a finisher. But we found out later was knocked out. So to me, honestly, once you hear, if right after the match or right after the show, you hear the guy that got pinned was knocked out, you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense then. Rather than taking a pin on Okada who might kick out, you go and pin the guy that's legitimately knocked out because you saw he was knocked out. It still works. And it furthers, they couldn't change the finish because there's something building between Adam Cole and Jay White, something building between the Bullet Club guys and the Elite guys.
Right.
Or the Bullet Club, in the Undisputed Elite, you've got some Bullet Club guys, and then you've also got the Undisputed guys who came from NXT. So there's something's going on with the Bullet Club and the Elite and the Undisputed peoples, and we are building towards a something.
But I played it again after like the same thing you did when they said that it was a concussion and that's what happened. If you watch it, it was both of their timing because Adam Cole kind of walked right into the first drop kick.
Yeah, I think he did that. I think the whole thing stemmed from those guys probably not working together either ever or in a while because there is a height difference and there's a timing difference. And not to make excuses, this is to inform people as you listen to a podcast. Hopefully you can learn something. There is a difference in the size of the ring. I believe the AEW ring is a little bit smaller than AEW than New Japan's ring. I think New Japan is 20 by 20 and AEW will use an 18 by 18 or even a 16 by 16 if they're in a smaller venue, which is why sometimes if you watch a show, you go, wow, that ring looks real small. It's because they're in a smaller venue and they needed to accommodate it with using a smaller ring. Anyways, the padding is different. So there's less padding in a New Japan ring and more padding in an AEW ring. And the guys that have come over from Japan, even Kenny Omega is one of them, said that the biggest adjustment they had to make was the way that they performed on this mat or ran on the mat and took steps, because it's like he said it's more like stepping on a cushion almost. Like it's a little easier to bump on than the traditional.
I think he called it memory foam, if I recall correctly.
Memory foam. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that could have led to what happened. And I mean, shit happens.
Yeah, but I just don't like it when they do that, when they intentionally, like they say it was this person's fault or that person's fault or whatever. I don't think it was either one of their fault necessarily. I think it was just a whole timing issue. And it happened. Still didn't take away anything from the match or the show, in my opinion.
No, that was a fantastic match. Also, the only other criticism I think people were making was that the AEW women's match didn't have a Japanese import, for lack of a better term, on it. But honestly, the way you can look at it is that Thunder Rosa and Toni Storm both had long careers, like several years long careers in Japan performing.
I was going to say they still were representing Japan, so to speak. So what's the big deal?
Yeah, and then it came out that Tony Khan did want to book some of the Joshi talent from Stardom, which is a partner promotion with New Japan, but some of them were unavailable because there was a Stardom show that day in Japan, so they couldn't go. Other ones that might have been available, didn't have their visas. Their travel visas. So we couldn't. So he explained afterwards, like, guys, I wanted this to happen, but we just couldn't make it happen. The good news is over 100,000 purchases of this pay-per-view, $1 million in sales at the gate, over $5 million in pay-per-view sales. This was a success, which means Forbidden Door 2, and the rumor is
Tokyo Dome.
Holy shit.
That would be amazing. And
really would be.
But wait a minute, but there's two other big things we need to talk about.
Oh, tons.
I mean, you got Cesaro is now all elite.
And he was that match against Zack Sabre.
Well, I think that's his real name, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was trying to pronounce it properly, not making fun of it.
Castagnoli. Yeah, it's Swiss, but it's like, I don't know, Swiss, that's somewhere in that.
Sounds almost
range.
Italian. I get
it does almost sound Italian, yeah. But he looked great. The match against ZSJ was awesome. I have no complaints. I'm so, sometimes people like, I wish it was more of a surprise. Honestly, even though it was a mystery, everybody pretty much figured out it was Cesaro based on the hints that were given. But
it was still great.
It's what you wanted to happen. Yeah. You know what I like? Nobody else would have really fit that spot, especially the way Brian described what was going on.
Right.
So,
and I might actually give that match of the night, honestly.
Ooh, see, now there's a couple for me. Match of the night could be
FTR.
Orange Cassidy, Will Ospreay. Because
that's true.
I heard that match was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. Anybody that complains, and I know Eric loves to complain about Orange Cassidy. He needs to watch this match and understand that Orange Cassidy is the truth.
Yes,
it was fantastic. So, and the FTR, that 3-way tag match, was Roppongi Vice, United Empire, and then FTR. With FTR becoming 7-star FTR.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's fantastic. My camera just cut out, didn't it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I see you.
Okay, it's frozen.
You're frozen on my end, but you're still there.
All right, good. As long as I'm still here.
Yeah, I can hear you. Just you got frozen. It's all good.
All right, cool.
So yeah, and then FTR was
so good.
I mean, it's just everything about it. I have not heard really one negative. I am still hearing a lot of complaints about the refereeing, though.
There were a lot of close counts.
Yeah.
Really close. And it could be refereeing, but it also could be like some people might not be used to the Japanese style of really, really close kickouts. They were wrestling a different style of match last night, and the refereeing kind of reflected that. Sometimes they mention it on commentary, like, "Oh, this person could have been disqualified, but the official decided, it's a pay-per-view where you want a winner. This is a one night a year thing, so they don't want to interfere by like, oh, you didn't break a hold at 5, I'm going to disqualify you." So they kind of made sense of it, but also didn't.
Right. No, I get it.
You can explain it. Listen, it's all taste, because I see so many people online complain about Aubrey Edwards. It's unbelievable.
And I'm glad you said that, because I was going to ask you, what I happen to enjoy Aubrey. I think she brings a lot to the match, quite honestly. I enjoy watching her, but a lot of people think she's beyond obnoxious and annoying. What do you guys think?
I don't think.
I thought that was Ty Conti, but I don't have a problem with her at all, and I don't understand where this stuff about her attitude. I don't see an attitude. Maybe it's just me, but I don't get it.
Because she wears red lipstick and she makes faces and all this. I'm like, you guys don't realize. People honestly don't realize part of the referee's function is not just communicating between the producer in the back and the guys in the ring, and between the two guys in the ring who are trying to call moves. It's to sell the action. A lot of when you should watch when, if you're watching a referee, not that you should be watching a referee, but they're in the background, usually reacting to what's happening. If somebody gets hit with a big move, they react to it. It's not just Aubrey, it's every referee.
I think
Aubrey is a little over the top, though. I mean, let's be honest. I don't have a problem with it, but she is. I enjoy it.
I think it also has to do with the fact of people not being so used to the fact of a female referee being put so front and center. Yes, WWE has had female referees in the past, but Jacqueline or whatever, I can't remember the one that's on the current roster right now.
Oh, Jessica, I think.
Yeah, but that's right, because she was in NXT. But Aubrey is the first one to be completely front and center. And if you're used to a Dave or Earl Hebner, whoa, or whatever, or even a Mike Chioda, and then she's so outlandish, I just think it has a lot to, and not that it's in a sexist way. I just think it's because they're just not used to it. It's like when Renee Young became the first female commentator, she got ripped almost
every week. Well, that's because when anything big happened, she was so Canadian. She just went, oh,
right. But she did phenomenal.
No, she did good.
Maybe it's a girl thing, but I thought she was freaking awesome.
No, she like anybody on commentary. You start off rough and you either learn or you don't. And I think she ended up being really good at it.
But that's just it. So you have to retrain yourself as a wrestling fan to expect that this female is going to be in this position now.
And the other thing is Aubrey. Aubrey was at one point a professional ballet dancer, and she performs in a lot of theater. And also,
I can totally see that.
Right,
I mean,
and was a referee on the Indies as well. Here's the thing: the Indies is different than TV. If you're working, or even theater is different than TV because you're not getting
totally different way of selling things.
So she is very much trying to sell it to, like, she sees the size of the audience and goes in her theater brain, the person in the very back row needs to see me say 2. So I can't just go 2. I have to go 2. You know what I mean? So it's very much like a musical theatrical kind of mindset,
but every ref even does that 2 and puts it up there. Nobody puts it, unless you're Danny Davis, nobody's putting a 2 like right in front of your chest.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like she definitely does. Her and Bryce Remsburg, who also is in like an improv troupe and does theater and all this other crap. Not crap, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because I did it. But like he's the same way. The other referees are a little bit more low key about it, but I've definitely seen Bryce get complaints and Aubrey get the most complaints. And they're a little over the top, but like the way I look at it is, again, 19 years of Vince McMahon controlling the narrative about referees. They should be nameless, faceless, and they should just be there to count the pinfall. That wasn't the way it was back in the day. In WCW, you knew every referee's name, and
Nick
you
Patrick,
knew
Charlie Charles Robinson.
but you also knew they refereed a different style of match. It's the same way, like, if you're a baseball fan, you knew when Joe West was the umpire behind the plate, you were going to have a bad night. Or you knew if like Angel Hernandez is an umpire, you're going to have a bad night. You know
Justin
what I mean?
is nodding his head up and down so emphatically right now.
Right. So it's all, to me, that's reflective of what, if we're trying to play it like a sport, then some officials should suck. Some officials should be good. Some of them should miss something sometimes.
Right.
There's that one guy with the crew cut, the really tight fade, where like, for a while there, he was like not being paid by the Young Bucks, but he would like always conveniently miss when they were double teaming somebody, and he would always ref their matches and just miss the moments. And then flat out, dude, Rick Knox, the bald guy, there was an episode of Being the Elite like last year, the year before. They went over to him and handed him cash, and he took it and put it in his pocket. And then the next match he refereed in their favor. I mean, come on, this is real life shit happened in the NBA.
Yeah. Kind of like back in the day, whatever. If you saw Earl Hebner or whatever, you're like, oh, he's taking a bump.
Right. Oh yeah. Or even the best R.I.P. Dave, it was the switch. That was the biggest bamboozle in referee history, was the Dave and Earl switch.
Yep.
He got the plastic.
But you knew automatically when you saw Hebner. Yeah. You knew when you saw Hebner in the ring that there was going to be a huge bump in the match.
Yeah, and honestly, Aubrey takes a lot from Earl Hebner. She used to, she calls herself Girl Hebner. That's like her deal. They do the Earl Hebner point in the chest spot, and then she pushes it like she took the Earl spot. So
she does the kick to the rope too.
Yeah. Oh, they kicking the rope on a 5 count. Yeah.
Yep. She takes total, but that's a perfect example too, because I don't remember which one it was, because it's kind of hard to tell the two apart, at least in my opinion. But he was always out there too, like waving the arms, flipping out or whatever. Like even like trying to think which the match was. The Tuesday night in Texas, the Randy Savage, Jake the Snake Roberts match.
Oh.
He was freaking all over the place in that match. He was tap dancing all over the ring.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just the way it is, man. It's like referees are all different. Even in New Japan, I love New Japan. I wish they would have brought over some of their referees because they've got Red Shoes, who is the father of the kid Shota Umino, who wrestled with Blackpool Combat Club on Sunday. So Red Shoes, there's like a thing where Chris Jericho had a feud with Red Shoes as a referee. He didn't like it when Red Shoes reffed his matches in Japan. So when his son became a wrestler, Chris Jericho attacked Shota in Japan in front of his father during a match, and now did it on Sunday again. I feel like we might see Red Shoes Umino come over, but he's like their Earl Hebner, like very over the top with the way he counts threes and sells everything. And then they had I forget the guy, Tiger Hattori, but he's retired now. He was like a 70-something-year-old man, used to get down on one knee to count the 3 counts. So you knew when he was in, the 3 counts were going to be slower. The old guy was going to miss more stuff than a younger referee. And you're like, oh God, Tiger's the referee. So that I like that. I think there should be, if there's going to be one over the top referee or whatever, sure. They shouldn't all be characters. Nobody should have a cowboy hat or anything, but having varying degrees of referee activity or quality or whatever, however you want to term it. I kind of like that because it reminds me of watching old school wrestling.
I mean, like I said, I am a fan of Aubrey Edwards. I do. I enjoy it.
She does catch a lot of criticism.
She does. She gets a lot. And I understand it too. I understand the criticism. I get it. But for some reason, it just doesn't. It makes me laugh a lot of the time too. Even her facial expressions sometimes.
She looks when she tries to look mad at somebody.
Well, even that, or if like a big move hits and she's like an holy shit moment,
oh yeah,
sometimes it's just great. So I enjoy it. I don't know. People need to fucking relax. It's pro wrestling. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah,
but
get over it, nerds.
But yeah. So anything else?
Yeah, I said get over it, nerds.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Sting's entrance start with him skydiving off the fucking?
So they played
Sting is out of control.
Everybody had their Shingo entered, Darby entered. They played Sting's music. He didn't come out. So then they just moved on to the Young Bucks entrance. And the Young Bucks entrance, and they're up and they're posing and all this stuff. And then the lights go out. And then a spotlight hits in the rafters. And there's somebody dressed like Sting with a baseball bat pointing at them from the rafters. The lights go out again. When they come back up, Sting is on top of one of the tunnels and just in his trench coat. He looked like fucking Batman. Just jumped remember when Silent Bob and Mallrats and he just jumped up the thing? It was like that. He just jumped.
Exactly how it was. Oh my
God. Fat ass fly. And he just fucking went.
That's fucking awesome.
They all caught him. They all caught him, took a big bump because it was 4 guys. It was the Young Bucks, whoever it was, and Hikuleo, all those 4 guys from the Bullet Club. They all caught him and took the bump. So he was fine. I don't know what.
But what a way to start.
It's crazy. This guy's 60 years old. Why is he doing it now? He never did that shit.
You know what bothers me though?
What up?
How long did we wait for Sting to get to WWE?
Yep.
For them to do nothing with him because Seth Rollins powerbombed him. Meanwhile, he's skydiving off fucking. Come on, dude. We could have had Sting Taker. As much as I enjoyed Taker AJ, we could have had Sting. Fucking A, man.
At any point in time, we could have had it. It would have been great. It would have really. I'm so out of all of even. I would have given up Triple H versus Sting and Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt if they just made 100%. Undertaker versus Sting for that fucking WrestleMania. Who gave a shit?
Yeah.
No,
100%.
It was right after the Undertaker lost the streak to Lesnar.
Yep.
So he had to win the next one, and he's on Bray. He was wrestling Bray Wyatt, who still might have the world's worst WrestleMania record for main events. He lost every big match, and literally, I mean, I went to there were 3 WrestleManias I think I went to that he lost in title matches or main event matches. But anyway, that was not an interesting match. And as much as Triple H versus Sting was like WCW versus WWF kind of reliving the Monday Night Wars one more time. You brought out the NWO for some reason with Sting, even though they hated him. And then you brought out DX. So you kind of relived the DX NWO thing. I understood all that. The match people wanted was Sting and The Undertaker. And that was the opportunity. Right? Wasn't that the year? That all happened the same year.
No, I think you're spot on.
It's just
it's just mind blowing. They wanted Sting to. I mean, listen, they had Sting lose on top of it.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Sting lost in his only WrestleMania match because Triple H was still mad about WCW beating Monday Nitro beating Raw.
Right.
Well, shouldn't have told Tony Schiavone to say that Mankind was going to win. What can I tell you?
I know they're all still mad about that years later. Although they should be happy. They should be happy for Tony for that one because that turned the tide in the whole goddamn thing. But I guess we're burying the lead here on this AEW pay-per-view. There is a new interim world champion in the form of Jon Moxley, who I was really hoping Tanahashi would win just to kind of throw a curveball, like, oh shit, this guy came over from New Japan and took one of the titles back with him. Like, I don't know, not back with him, but you know what I mean? Like
be a great way to have an interim champion, quite honestly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's almost like when the Yankees brought over Hideki Matsui from Japan. They're like, listen, this guy's really fucking good. Trust us. And they brought him over. They're like, oh yeah, this guy's really good. So him winning the title and beating Jon Moxley would have instantly made him credible to the fans. And also, he's fucking Tanahashi. There's a built-in audience of New Japan fans who also watch AEW who would like that. And then I think I think that would bring in some intrigue, even if people who don't necessarily watch AEW heard like, man, this guy from Japan came over and won the title. This was his second match in AEW, the second match in the United States, and he won the title.
That's big news. Yeah,
it would be big news. So like, but Jon Moxley is a safe bet. Everybody loves him. He is, in a better place now, physically, mentally, all that stuff after rehab, and I think he wants to be that workhorse that he was. He got a great run during the pandemic that didn't have a lot of audience participation in it. So now I feel like he wants to do that same kind of workhorse. I'm going to defend my title, whatever, until CM Punk comes back. I feel like he's going to be that guy.
I can see that.
And they have Blood and Guts coming up on Wednesday. 6-on-6 Blood and Guts. It's going to be a fucking massacre. And the rest of this card, up and down, Forbidden Door is great. Pac won the All Atlantic Championship in a great 4-way match.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I was really hoping that. I mean, FTR won the New Japan, the IWGP Tag Team titles, but I was hoping that one of the singles titles would switch countries to give it a little bit more intrigue. Like if one of the Japanese, like I know. Someone was pulled from the match, that 4-way match. Oh, it was Ishii. Tomohiro Ishii was pulled from the match due to COVID or something.
Oh, really?
And they replaced him with Clark Connors, who's a New Japan dojo trainee, but he trained in the United States. He trained at their LA dojo and then works over in Japan now. So they had him come in, but he's an American that was trained by the Japanese. He wasn't an actual, Japanese-born competitor. And then, Pac won it anyway. But I think we're also setting up that match, Miro against Malachi.
Yes.
Because Miro caught the mist. Miro was going to win that whole match and then caught the mist from Malachi. And I feel like the Redeemer and his, do you believe in my God or do you believe in the black magic? You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be so, those two guys are going to beat the piss out of each other. It's going to be beautiful.
Not a part of the pay-per-view, but one other big thing that happened after we aired.
Yeah.
Typical.
Oh, always.
Christian finally does it.
Yes.
And not only does he do it, but he cut the promo of a fucking lifetime and went in on that promo with them ringside. Go for it. That's how you get heel heat, baby.
So, first of all, after
Amazing.
that ladder match, when he turned on Jungle Boy, he hit him with the concerto, and at that show, because it was like the night of Jungle Boy's birthday or the night before, his mother and sister were there as well. That week before, where the ladder match happened, Christian got out of the ring, and it wasn't filmed. This was after they went off the air. Like cameras caught it, or like people on their smartphones caught it. He went up to the mother and the daughter. He went to the mother and said, "You raised a piece of shit. That's your fault." He's gonna be drinking his birthday cake through a straw. All this kind of like mean
listen,
shit. And then goes the next week on TV, takes the microphone out of Tony Schiavone's hand, and cuts not only what I think is Christian Cage's best promo, that is up there with like, no, I don't want to exaggerate. This was Christian's fucking Austin 316.
Amen.
I don't know what else to tell you, man. That of modern promos, I know people boo, and they boo MJF, but also this is the most legitimate booing heat. Like legitimate. He talked about not only Jungle Boy and his mother and his sister, who look like very nice ladies sitting in the front row. He talked about his dead dad. And not only is his dad dead, when his dad was alive, his dad was one of the most beloved television actors of his generation.
And a huge wrestling fan.
And a diehard wrestling fan, which is why Jungle Boy is a professional wrestler.
Right. Oh, it was beautiful. It was so great. The heat. It's what's funny to me. We said months ago, how long is it going to take before Christian turns on Jungle Boy? Right. And we all knew it. And the Saurus. We all knew it was going to happen eventually because that's Christian. And it always happens. But I did not expect, that crowd, the minute he turned. You just like for a second, you're like, oh my God, it's going to happen. And sure as shit, it does. And then the crowd just, the heat.
He paused. And he said something about Jungle Boy's dad. And then he paused. And everybody's like, is he going to say it? And he goes, but your dad's dead. Like, oh my God. The second, he didn't even get the duh. He got the first duh out. He didn't even get the rest of the word dead out of his mouth. He got the first syllable out. Beautiful.
But see,
beautiful.
I am sure, by the way, that this was all cleared ahead of time with Jungle Boy.
Luke Perry and Christian Cage were friends. That's why he has that whole relationship with Jungle Boy and everything. Luke Perry said it on several interviews and everything that his favorite two wrestlers were Edge and Christian.
Right?
The SummerSlam, even when he was there with Jungle Boy at ringside, there is when Edge and Christian come out or whatever, they grab Jungle Boy, they hug and everything. Like Luke Perry was a diehard. So that's
and let me tell you something. Luke Perry, after what just took place, rolled over and started smiling because
of course he did.
He's finally a part of a storyline. You know what I mean? Like exactly. This is not a bad thing, but it is such great heat, and it was just so good. And I'm so happy for Christian because for a while it was kind of like, all right, what are you doing? Like you brought him over, great. Now what the fuck? You haven't done shit with him. I mean, but so promo, this is cool.
He says it he's like, you think I wouldn't just sit back and take an easy paycheck managing these two guys? You're like, oh, all right, shit. Well, he acknowledged that he was taking the easy paycheck and not wrestling, which at least is nice. And then the weird thing, Luchasaurus comes out at the end of this promo and grabs Christian Cage by the throat, gives him the old goozle, and really should have just torn the fucking guy apart. But Christian said something. Remember what happened to Marco. Mm-hmm. And that's what stopped Luchasaurus. Because if you guys don't remember, Marco was just quietly released and taken off TV. So Christian, even though not released, his contract wasn't renewed.
It's kind of alluding to the fact that he had something to do with it.
Right.
Like maybe Christian is trying to convince Luchasaurus that Jungle Boy got Marco fired or something. You know what I mean? And it's like
he's afraid he's going to get him fired. So this is going to lead to a feud now between. You're going to split up Jungle Boy and
Yeah,
and
I think Jungle
the
Express is split up.
Brontosaurus.
And yeah, Luchasaurus is going to be managed by Christian for a little while. They're going to have Jungle Boy face Luchasaurus, beat him on his way to bring it to facing and beating Christian, which I assume will happen in a chairs match, a TLC match, a ladder, some sort of It has to be one of those. It has to.
It'll be a ladder match.
It has to be Christian saying, "I'm going to beat you in my match." You know.
Well,
I mean?
and that would be a ladder match.
Yeah, so I think ladder match would definitely be the way to go to blow this off. I don't know for what. I don't know what could be on the top of the thing. Maybe one of them gets a title in the interim. Grabs the all Atlantic title or grabs the TNT title. Although I think, no spoilers, I think Wardlow is going to power bomb his way to the TNT championship.
I agree.
Which I don't disagree with. I think that's the absolute right move. The guy's red hot.
Any updates on MJF?
No, which is
I haven't heard shit.
No, and that's
That's the weird thing.
It's either a very good thing in that they're keeping this very much under wraps and it will be a legitimate surprise when he re-debuts, or it's the other way and he's either waiting out his contract or waiting for them to grant his release so he can go somewhere else. And without any sort of inside scoop, listen, this is a company that nobody leaked any information about Brody Lee passing away. Nobody about how he was sick. Nothing happened, and there was no official word from AEW. No rumors really floating around. We all thought he was still injured because he had that like arm injury or something that he had surgery on, and it was just so locked up that you didn't know until they made the announcement. And if that's the kind of like secrecy they're able to bring about in this situation as well, and kind of keep everybody under wraps, it could either be for a really good reason because they really want to sell this like it's a story, but they want to sell it like it's real life. So that's why you just don't mention them at all. Or the complete opposite is true. MJF is unhappy, is refusing to work, and is waiting out his contract to try and get released.
So there's something else I need to bring up to the panel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting trademark recently has been filed through AEW trademarking.
Oh, the same attorney, yeah.
The same attorney for Wyatt 6, which makes me think that it is just now officially a matter of time before some sort of Bray Wyatt Fiend something is going to be coming to AEW, because why would he be using AEW lawyers unless he had some affiliation with said AEW? So I think things are really about to pick up.
I hope so.
Me too.
The information that I have about Wyatt 6 is just culled from internet strangers, and I have no way to verify this. But the rumor is that Wyatt 6 is going to be a cyborg style character, where the mask and the costume that he wears will have some parts that look like machines and gears and all that shit, and some of it will look like human skin, kind of like a Terminator with half the skin ripped off, or just kind of like a cyborg or whatever from like a sci-fi or a horror movie that has like some human parts and some organic stuff and then some machine stuff, kind of keeping him alive.
All right, I'm in.
So that's the rumor I heard. The other thing I thought was,
you know what though? One quick thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't that kind of sort of sound to you like what they were trying to do with Ryback at one point? Wasn't that the plan? Like they were going to bring him in as like
Ryback
the semi-Terminator?
Yep. Yeah, like a Terminator for the future. Absolutely. So
I don't want to hear that piece of shit's name. I'm sorry.
Yo, that guy.
I happen to agree, but it just correlated. But go ahead. So
the other thing I thought Wyatt 6 would have been cool for, two things that I thought was that maybe Wyatt has 6 personalities, and it's like the movie Split, where he's going to go between 6 different people. But Wyatt 6 also makes sense of like, if that's the name of a machine, Wyatt 6. Yeah, sure. The other thing I thought was maybe there's always a group like the Something 3 or this group, the West Memphis 3 was a famous group of people who were like arrested. So maybe I thought maybe the Wyatt 6 would be like his new Wyatt family. The Wyatt, like the Wyatt Six would be like a group of him and 5 other people doing weird Rob Zombie movie shit.
How great would it be if it was Redbeard and fucking you bring in Braun, although that's a far fetch because he doesn't seem to want to do anything long term contract wise. So it'll be very interesting to see how this is all going to play. But stay tuned because shit's going to go down.
Well, and if it is Wyatt Six and it's this kind of like cyborg character, which I think is that's fascinating that AEW, I'm trying to get my camera to focus. AEW kind of only really did the broken Matt Hardy stuff like as they kind of treated it almost separately.
It didn't work too because there was no crowd.
No, but now they've got the House of Black, who's while not outright doing sci-fi whatever, is still doing this kind of dark spooky thing with the smoke and the entrances and the mist and the occult stuff. And you don't want to double up on the occult stuff, so you can't just have Bray Wyatt come in as Bray Wyatt.
You know what I want them to do? I want them to. They don't do this much anymore. I want them to do teasers.
Yeah.
Like, like this is coming or like whatever. Yeah. Like do some vignettes, like freak people out, but get people fucking excited and get them talking like, oh my God, is this actually going to be Bray Wyatt? Or, whatever variation he is going to be.
Yeah.
Right. I just like, they've been very good at kind of sort of keeping things under the hush and getting a nice surprise debut or this and that. Fuck that. Right. Do a build up and then like have like a Jericho countdown or like whatever, like bring that back, but like a creepy one, something, you know what I mean? But it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, if he, a lot of the things I'm hearing, the issues he had in WWE was that he didn't have enough creative control.
Right.
If Khan gives him that control.
Yeah.
Which he does.
You know what I mean? Like it's endless to how great this could potentially be.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Now here's the thing with Tony Khan. I think always gives people the benefit of the doubt and lets them kind of they have a certain amount
try
of
shit out.
Right. Yeah. And that was kind of like the thing that caused Cody to kind of make his way out was that he had he was really booking most of his own stuff and kind of just running it by Tony. And then at one point when Tony felt like it wasn't getting the right reaction, he pulled back control. So Tony Khan had more control. It was more of a position where Cody could make suggestions and had control over certain things. But at the end of the day, like Khan was, he was the final word, much like Vince would be the final word. So that kind of caused that. But that's after giving somebody enough rope to hang themselves with. So I think if they're going to have a guy like Wyatt come in and he says, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z, you at least have to give him that open, say, all right, you do these vignettes, you do these promos. What do you need from us? We're going to give you 6 weeks, 8 weeks,
right?
3 months, whatever it is. And then
this comment is from Brian, by the way.
What about a version of Follow the Buzzards with following something and end it with he's coming? Yeah.
I'm good with that.
And if I'm almost picturing kind of when you said Jericho countdown, I'm picturing some kind of like Jericho countdown or back. If it's really a cyborg, like a Back to the Future style thing, or like even like Cyberdyne Industries, like Terminator, like the way they would teleport somebody back in time and like they would they were in like a lab. They had a machine that created the bubble and all that shit. So like almost like maybe, you're seeing the countdown, initiating launch sequence in 7 days. Count, you know what I mean? And like does the thing. You're like, oh shit, what's happening in 7 days? And like then on Rampage, it's like 3 days, 47 minutes. You're like, what the? And then like it counts down and like.
Thank you for hitting the self-destruct button. The ship will self-destruct in 10 minutes.
Right, yeah. And then if he's coming, like, I don't know, if he's a cyborg and he's going to be a fucking half man, half machine, and it's going to have.
Yep.
Yes. And I know the music guy at AEW is good enough to do something that sounds like this. And he could, and you know, I think the Machine Brian Cage is going to be really pissed.
Yeah.
But
Resistance is futile.
If Wyatt Six is really a cyborg, stepping on the skull.
Oh, that would be fucking. Imagine if it's like a Terminator lamp. Oh my god.
Oh, he has a lamp. Oh man.
And it looks like a cyborg. Holy shit, that would be so awesome.
Yeah, that lamp that had the Bray Wyatt head on it was a big part of the Fiend's presentation. That was so
but
cool.
can you imagine? Oh, since this Fiend is dead, imagine if he puts like the Fiend's head on the lamp.
Oh wow!
Like he buries every one of his past characters in that lamp. That would be so cool.
I just want to see him back on TV. I'll take him any way I can get him at this point. I'll tell you that.
But it's so interesting to think that if he comes in, you can have him wrestling guys like Kenny Omega when he comes back. You have all these fresh matchups for Bray Wyatt.
Oh, dude, so many.
It's ridiculous.
Darby Allin.
Oh no!
How great would that
Darby
be?
Allin would be great, but also
it would be a massacre, but it would be great.
So much better.
Yeah, but Darby will do some sick, crazy shit.
Oh, wait,
you know?
Claudio's got to do the giant swing to Darby.
Oh,
and see how far he can shot put him.
He'll do a
hammer throw. Like he can throw him a couple rows. I think he could get him over the ropes into the audience.
God bless that fucking kid. He's amazing.
Yeah, Wyatt coming in to like. Wyatt could run into Miro again because they're both so different now, but he could run, you know.
But I want to see new. I don't want to see.
No, I want to see.
New.
I want to see. I just thought if I said Brian, the Machine Brian Cage would be awful pissed about this. What if Bray Wyatt wrestled Brian Cage?
Okay.
What if Bray Wyatt wrestled Keith Lee?
Keith Lee, yeah. Did they ever wrestle? I don't think they did.
No.
Never saw that.
Ooh. Yeah.
So many possibilities.
There's Wardlow. There's.
You know what though? It's not even like I don't even give a shit about him getting in the ring, and I just want to hear him cut a promo. I just want to hear a promo because he's so good at the promo. He's great in the ring, but his promo work is fucking awesome.
But you're right. The thing that you said earlier still holds, and I think is almost an absolute certainty. He is going to have some sort of introductory vignette that's like a little mini movie that he directs or whatever. Yeah. There's going to be something like that to set the tone for this character. I just have a feeling that he's part of this is not just that, like you said, he likes to wrestle or likes to cut promos. Part of it is he obviously has an interest in film and producing things and directing them, and he's got a vision of like this kind of stuff. So I think we're going to get, if the intent with the Fiend and even the Bray Wyatt character was doing all those pre-recorded vignettes, if that's what we're doing, we're just taking them from horror to sci-fi, I guess. That's the way we're doing. Or like Jason X. Maybe.
It'll be a combination of the two.
I was going to say, you could still have, Jason X. Oh my God.
What if the mask looks like Jason X? That could be it. That could be the inspiration.
I mean, listen, if he didn't have the rights to the Fiend mask,
yeah,
he knows the guy that did it, and he could easily go to him and buy one out of pocket and make something new and creative. So I think we have some really interesting shit coming, and I don't think we have to be too patient much longer.
Can you imagine the guy probably had 5 different characters made and be like, all right, make these masks. I'm going to pick one, whichever one looks the coolest after you're done.
Probably,
yeah.
And then he probably bought them all and just keep it in his trophies.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You just keep them because it's like it's either Tom Savini or somebody that worked with Tom Savini doing that. And Tom Savini is the godfather of all that stuff. A lot of special effects. Worked with George Romero on the Night of the Living Dead and etc. And Dawn of the Dead, the original Dawn of the Dead in the Mall. He did the makeup. He did the special effects from Dusk Till Dawn.
You think they're going to have to change the spelling of Wyatt?
I don't know. Because it's not a.
Is it like?
Listen, like we just had Stokely Hathaway come on as Stokely Hathaway. He was Stokely Hathaway on NXT, and like I don't know. I really don't. What? Because I think
But isn't Wyatt his middle name?
Enough. Oh, maybe
is it?
Is.
Oh,
I thought he was Wyndham Wyatt Rotunda.
That's very possible. I have no fucking clue, but it's very possible.
Wyndham Lawrence Rotunda.
Okay, I take it back then. Never mind.
I don't know, but I think because if he was like out there playing spooky guy from the Bayou named like Dave Wyatt, I think they'd have a problem with it. But I think because it's Wyatt 6 and it's a fucking if it's really gonna be a robot or a cyborg,
he should be like his new version of like Mr. Rogers, right? But like stand out like in front of a white picket fence with a nice yard and a nice house, and like, you know, instead of being in a Firefly Funhouse, he's in like his house, like, you know, or whatever.
Dennis
and then like just be like, you know, fucking like, you know, like Chainsaw Charlie inside, you know.
Oh, like everything's normal on the outside of the house, and then as soon as you open the door, like you can open the door,
you'll see like heads of pigs hanging, and like, you know, fireplace like fucking Freddy Krueger. There's probably a little girl playing jump rope, you know, shit like that. There's so many things you could do, man.
Mr. Wyatt's Neighborhood, and it's just
Mr. Wyatt's Neighborhood. Fucking A.
I love it. I fucking love it.
Why didn't WWE is silly? We've only got a couple. They had this guy. They have a WWE network. They could have made a creepy children's show.
Oh yeah.
Oh fuck yeah! And I would.
Dude, it all came down to they said that he just became impossible to work with, and then he got too full of himself and wanted too much control, and they weren't willing to give it to him.
Yeah.
Oh gee, that's a shocker. I've never heard that in a wrestler in my life.
Good shit. It's good shit, man. That's the thing.
Yeah, but you know what? At the end of the day, you're an employee.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta do what you're fucking told. You know, it is what it is.
But he is the reason, because of like the Firefly Funhouse and everything he could do. He carried the WWE during the Thunderdome, because that's all we 100%.
That's true. Very true.
So he had the right to want more creative control and have that ego, because that's all we talked about every
But
week.
Vince ain't gonna tolerate that, and we know that. Vince is gonna say, it's my fucking show. It's gonna go the way I want it to. I'm not disagreeing with you. He did carry that entire era, if you will. You know, that was literally the reason we tuned in, was to see what Wyatt was gonna do next. But it is what it is, man. I just, this might be a blessing in disguise, because now, if we're right and it's AEW and Khan lets him go, oh buddy, it's gonna be must see Wednesday nights.
Well, because you see the stuff that they let Darby do. Darby goes around, like, crashes cars and lights them on fire in his backyard, and they air that shit on TV. So if they're gonna put that on, you can put anything on. I got this weird thing that I got shared on my phone. Ric Flair is apparently in videos for a dick pill called Mount Everest.
Bro, hold on. So, do you ever listen to Busted Open?
I haven't recently.
So, it's one of the sponsors. So, I'm driving to work.
No.
I'm driving to work. And all of a sudden, you know, La Greca goes to fucking commercial. And I hear, this is an Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Woo! And he's talking about, if you want to ride Space Mountain and get, and it's like, and like, you pop this pill and you're ready to ride in 5 minutes.
Oh man!
And if you use promo code Ric Flair, you get 10% off your first order. It is hilarious. It is so fucking funny.
Do you have your dick to be as hard as the 10 pounds of gold, Daddy? Woo!
You have to find it on YouTube. It's got to be there. You have to watch it. It is hilarious because it's Ric fucking Flair.
Is too long. Take the fast pass. Woo!
Oh, dude, it was unbelievable. I have never laughed so hard. I almost had to pull over the car because I had tears coming out of my face.
That's gonna be like a new episode then of Sex Brought Me to the ER. Then
Oh my God, it was amazing. Amazing.
It's brought me to the ER. Yeah, and it's Ric Flair and
Yeah.
Maeve.
After you
And
find
the
it and listen
stewardess
to
from
it,
the
let me
plane
know.
ride from hell.
Oh my
When you find it and you
Yeah.
watch it, shoot it in the chat and let me know. But at that point,
And we're gonna have to, we're gonna have to play it next week live
Yeah.
if we find clips that we can play. Holy
oh
shit!
my
that's
God,
Oh
dude,
my
it's
God.
it is unbelievable.
Ric
And
Flair, I
on
mean-
that note,
Yes,
top of the
it is.
hour, baby.
Oh, it really is the top of the hour. Thank you so much for joining us. We are not sponsored by Ric Flair brand dick pills, but we should be. Thank you for tuning
Call
in.
us.
Yeah, I know, right? Do we get paid in samples or money? I don't know. Anyway,
Oh,
I'll
God.
take either.
As the one female, I don't want to be paid with any of it. Thank
I was
you.
gonna say you don't need any more kids. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I don't know, she got a lot of kids. One more would be a lot, way too many.
I got kids.
I got kids. Thank you for tuning in, guys. I saw a lot of people hopping in and out. I saw a lot of people, like a lot more people than usual. So I don't know if we caught a wave on the algorithm or what, but it was nice to see so many people tuning in tonight. If you're having fun, be sure to tell your friends, share the podcast with them. Follow us on social media at Tag Me a Date. That's at Tag Me a Date, no spaces. Tara says she's gonna have nightmares tonight. So it's at Tag
And
Me a
always
Date, no
hit the
spaces.
subscribe button.
Yeah, hit the
Subscribe.
subscribe button on YouTube. YouTube is, again, it's Tag Me a Date. You can just search for it, hit subscribe, hit the bell. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, we're on Periscope, we're on Twitch at twitch.tv/War Report, and we stream there as well. We stream on Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook, Twitter, whatever. We're live streaming every Tuesday, 6 p.m. on Eastern time. So just check out our socials at Tag Me a Date, and you can find all the places that we're streaming. And you can also find us on your favorite podcast app if you prefer to get an audio version of the podcast rather than the video version. About an hour, between an hour, the hour that the show goes off the air, Ryan pulls the audio from the clip and or from the whole broadcast and uploads it to our podcast repository thing. So if you can go to Google Play Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app of choice, all you have to do is search for the War Report or search for Tag Me a Date. We will come up. Please hit subscribe. You'll see our most recent episodes there. And if you hit subscribe, it will be delivered to you every week right after we go off the air. So you can just take them with you in your car or wherever you take your podcast. So just be sure to follow us and subscribe and all that good stuff, and share it with your friends if you have wrestling fan friends that are looking for some new podcasts to listen to. Let them know that we're around. We'd love to have them hop in our chat here and throw some live comments. We'd love to have them subscribe to the audio podcast or go check out our old episodes on our YouTube channel, whatever it might be. So thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in, and we will see you